Okay, everybody, it's good news time. So, you guys were patient. I know there is always going to be a yin and there's going to be a yang. Not everything, most of what I go through is like this: up, down, up. More down often than up lately. Honestly, more up has come forward than down. I build solutions, everybody. I go through these things. I learn the players. I'm only going farther and farther and farther. Just so everybody knows, guess who's invited back after all of the presentations today? Those 4 hours. Guess who is coming back invited for week 2 on going forward with USA's decision, where USA is going to go. I get to be front and center on that. And, everybody, before, we get into the great details, the good news of all that, because it opened really badly with the UN General Assembly USA rep. This is not UNSC, Ultimate Authority USA, okay? I've always talked about 2 UNs. Canada only has 1 UN, General Assembly. Had we won a UNSC seat, we would have had a 2-part UN world, but we don't. We're down in the dumps with the General Assembly, the shitty ideas machine, and when our politicians pull that out of the garbage, it negatively affects Canada because we're not on the UNSC. We can't get back there. It's impossible for Canada today in this world as we are as a country. Sorry, Canadians, you're just that low on the list of countries, that low. Ultimately low. Worst vote we ever had was the last challenge for UNSC. But this is all about good news. All about good news. Lots of good news to go through here. General Assembly, USA goes through, nobody impressed. Who comes up? The top legal mind of UK, another international sensation, United Nations for UK, and clubs him down, starts clubbing hard in real facts. Not only USA, his own nation, but goes through the tremendous detail, answers my question in full relevance, tags the years, even goes further, adds to my knowledge, gives me a gift of 1941 and says, did you know that UK and USA had written this out in 41 on that path that Russia and USA took? UK was there too. Churchill was there. Boom, here's a document for you. I'm just like, yes, I'll take it. It's new. And then he goes into 45 and everything I've ever told all of you. This is a smart mastermind in UK, tied to the UN in legal court cases right now with 2 African countries you've all never heard of. We got to exchange back and forth as he ran through his presentation. Beautiful, smashing on the USA. Not that USA's bad. They've become ignorant over the last 200 years. They've been free for so long, they have forgotten what the world is. UK knows what that is because it's very fresh for UK. They have lots of former colonials and even current colonial countries to deal with. And what was said is UK's government has shut down internationally, meaning they've just hit the road of bang, what do we do now? And all these legal experts are out there right now working tremendously hard. They know they've hit a wall when it comes to the UNSC, which this UK rep really went through in tremendous detail, as though I had a hand in writing what he said, though, but it was him. It was all him. And in his version, UK's version, a lot of things I have touched on, but I didn't know even many, many more of the details, which he more than filled the audience in the room up with. And I was just tickled pink. If I can get this man, I'm not going to release his name because he's famous and you'll know. But we exchanged, and I hope we will be communicating. I think we will be. I don't see why he wouldn't. I even got into the 1948 Declaration of Human Rights. what we need Russia and USA to ratify in 2 weeks' time, everybody. USA is going to meet again. They closed with, you're invited back before the Russia-USA meeting, and we're going to hear what the USA plans to do going forward. How about that? How about that? I'm going to get an inside scoop that nobody else is going to get in the entire world. And I'm invited back to do it. So not all hope is lost. There are massive, massive organizations ready to get up and fight. There's a lot of Americans, right or left, ready to get up. A lot of organizations and groups. Constitution, freedom loving, liberty loving Americans with a wealth of knowledge, strength in academics and legal communities behind them. They're going to form together. We're all going to form together, and we're going to start taking these things on. Other great news, Brazil and India get in there. They go into their versions of colonialism, exactly like my Oxford paper, this time in great detail. Now, they stopped short. India stopped short because they went independent. They stopped short of saying colonial crown power, but they say embedded executive powers that utilize a lot of those aspects. Good enough for me. I don't want to see officials get into trouble in their home countries. I get that, but it was excellent. It was for the USA. Listen, this guy isn't crazy. We are former colonials. We're still suffering the scourge of amendments in our Constitution. There's not enough amendments. We got all these autocratic governments popping up everywhere, and you know what, everybody? Exactly what I present. 7 colonials in this world, and every country they colonized that either got independence, seeks independence, or lives still within the colonialism has kept all of those powers for the executive, for their constitutional monarchy, which is Canada, everybody. You elect kings and queens. That's what you do. Premiers get a division of powers, a smaller crown with more powers in some respects than the federal government. The federal government gets a giant crown. Together they merge and can do anything they want against all of you. This happens in many former colonial countries, even the ones with independence, because they got independence. However, the greasy, seedy, corrupt politicians based out of a colonial system, those politicians remain to keep that absolute in their system. Now, Russia is somewhat wise to us. They were as the Soviet Union. They fought back. They imposed constitutions to end that. So did the United States of America. They both together did 85 countries, making them better than what was of World War II. And you know what? They stopped going into a Cold War. We went through that today. That was backed up. And now Americans are sitting going, Democrats, the Democrats in power are now going, holy smokes. And they're disturbed. Their answer was, we're disturbed of what we're hearing and learning about. And you know, before everybody gets all, oh, they know, or they, you know, you can't say that. UK understood right away. We could see the anger pushed forward by UK, which really, really was beautiful for me. You know, when you're angry at that point, I'm like, oh, great. I'm in another shitty presentation, all alone, probably going to get thrown out any minute, but I wasn't. And then the Allies, it's like the Allies come to your aid, and it's punch after punch after punch, and America goes, okay, hold it. It can't just be him. There must be some validity here. We're going to break now. You're coming back in 2 weeks. They're going to go look at all this stuff. America's going to get smart. I got to give the idea that, listen, Russia, in Russia's encyclopedia, the way they define key government roles, when you read it in Russian, translate it from Russian, is not the way Canada and these other autocracies define in their respective encyclopedias those same definitions. And guess what? This is the same for USA. How is that even possible when you're both English speaking? But it is. It is, and it's real. Same nouns, totally different definitions altogether. Russia, USA made the gross error of going forward when Canada has its own version of an Oxford Canadian dictionary that determines a whole separate definition of governmental roles, governmental assigned positions, where you find crown embedded colonialism. Now India and Brazil are seeing it. Tremendous, tremendous persons in government from Brazil and India in key roles, legal key roles, are going, ooh, we haven't looked at that either, but this now kind of adds to our understanding. We're all putting our intellects together. I don't know. I don't know for sure with the USA. I just know there's a round two. Round one went to the UN General Assembly, USA rep, an idiot, a baboon, someone who should not be in that position. And there again is the problem with friends with no and clear understanding of how the world works or the countries around them. And I'm not going to slam USA. This is good news. They're listening. They're listening, everybody, and not just to me. Other countries, other tremendous countries, tremendous legal experts, tremendous minds. That is good news, because it could have easily been the traditional close the door, get out, and that's not what's happened. We're still in the fight. I'm still in the game. We're still going forward, and we have new allies with us. That is tremendous. Now, First Nations out west, earlier you heard the news, not so good, right? Boy, focus solely on Catholics, nothing to do with the government. Jason Kenney tickled pink. Well, guess what? Who's not tickled pink? Justin Trudeau and Doug Ford, because Six Nations out east here, not too far at all from me, took Ryerson and lobbed his head off. You can now find it where it was, in the Six Nations Reserve. It's right there. The Mohawks have it. They have it. Targeted government officials, governments to blame. Let's look at this as what it is. Somehow we're going to have to get the East and West together. Treaty, unceded, ceded, doesn't matter. Treaty of the past, Treaty of Confederation post, the Western. We're all going to have to get everybody together talking here. That's a fact in reality. Just like Canadians, it's no different. The ignorance is just the same. And we got to get a focused target here. What do we want to do? Continue? You can go after the church. Sure, we can blame the church. You could probably even get a settlement from the church. But wouldn't it be better to change the system? Have the acknowledgement, have the entire case, have a prosecution. A prosecution, a real one. A real world-binding prosecution. Great news today, too, on top of that prosecution, ICC. I delivered ICC versus ICJ. For the first time, even UNSC powers. They're going, wait a minute. Someone who went to law school. So see, there's some bullshit in having a law degree from all kinds of countries around the world, that you're taught things that are not real, not credible or viable. And these people fight on these stages only to lose decade after decade after decade. The First Nations, decade after decade. And everyone laughing back, government officials, they don't know political science. They don't know the crown embedded colonialism. I hate to do that, but that's what's going on here. And Six Nations just rose above that today. First Peoples, and they're also the oldest treaty in Canada. They rose above it. They went after Ryerson, lobbed his head off, government official, residential schools. That's the way to do it. Now the target right here in Toronto is Ryerson University in their name. Diminishing Ryerson. Government is to blame. I'm not excusing the church, but wouldn't you all like to have the evidence from the church in an impartial world court that will fry the Canadian government? And if you don't think they will, please, everybody, do the research and work I've done with the ICC over the last 2 years and their entire history since '93, and you will find all governments that they've absolutely brought down, brought to justice. That's not financial justice. You bring down the government, that's up to you, the people. Remember that? We, the people, we can do that. one minority election 2023. Let's get an ICC case going. Let's get Canadians and First Peoples together. Six Nations let off tremendously well today. Jason Kenney crying in his soup. But you know what? Doug Ford and Justin Trudeau, somebody has made some people know some things. Great news indeed. So not all is lost, everybody. Not even close, not by a million miles. Lots of Americans, United Kingdom, asking you, my loyal followers, I was fearful, extremely fearful over all these years of how UK was going to open up to all this, right? Because you would think UK would say, screw that. No, we're behind Canada. But they did not, and not even the Crown. It's all going in our direction. Catholic Church in our direction. This is monumental and tremendous, everybody. Stay tuned. I need rest. I have to answer all of even more emails. It looks like there's at least another 100 emails. I'm going to have to do more posts, so I'm sure we're over 1,300. It's all kinds of new names I'm sure I don't recognize. So I think we're okay. I mean, there's hundreds there, but a lot of them I do recognize. But there's a pile I don't recognize. They're brand new, and I'm excited about that. Keep sharing, everybody. Get up to a few thousand would be great. Would be great for the UN. They look at it. He had 200 before. Now he comes back with 2,000. And let's just say we had the Catholic Church signed on, committed. I'm not going there yet. That's the next couple days' work. Other great news, World Constitution Day. Canadians are taking that upon themselves. On my behalf, I'm overloaded, overworked. It's August 1st. I've already assigned persons. They're starting that process tomorrow, live with world experts. They're going to go through it. I can't. I have to step out. My workload is just too high. Delegation. People in the party are going to take that. I'll be communicating with a lot of you over the next few hours and tomorrow. Join that presentation. It will happen every week. You're going to run these programs, and yes, you're going to be able to say sponsored by the Joe Biden administration on freedom and liberty and constitutionalism, World Constitution Day. Doug Ford, Jason Kenney, Justin Trudeau, and every other province. You're going to have a hard time shutting this down August 1st. Sorry, but that's going to be a slap in the face to the American government. And they're going to turn around and look at you and say, ooh, maybe you do belong with Palestine and Venezuela. Maybe you are exactly what the Canadian people say you are. This is how we beat it, everybody. Thanks, God bless. Great news video. I know it doesn't do nothing for energy at this bit of time, but it's all just starting, everybody. And remember, 4/5 of Canada isn't available to anybody. Imagine a tremendous settlement with the First Peoples and Canadians. And then let's talk energy then. Let's talk wealth then. America had its boom, has had its settlements, has had all that done long ago. It's Canada's turn now. What will that do for Canadians? And then let's talk energy at that time when we have a real constitution, real path forward for all Canadians. That's what we can do. It's been done in this world, and we can beat this. We can beat this. We can really do it. Thanks. God bless. Have a great night. Share, share, share. Again, all true, verifiable, factual, can't be dispelled or thrown in the garbage. 100% truth for all Canadians and First Peoples. God bless. Have a great night. We'll talk to you all very soon tomorrow. Next is the Catholic Church letter. I know you're all hot anticipating that. I know it's got to be done. Tremendous work each and every day. I'm going to get it done in the next couple days, sharing that forward with you. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Bye now.